almost had it. Almost had it punched. Almost. John, hear you there. Thanks for coming by for another Tuesday. Oh, crap, my rings are upstairs, but at least I'm still in the house. Anyway, John, hear you there. Tuesday Thoughts here on the SDH Network. We're going to go over everything that we've missed on the weekend. We'll go back over Major League Soccer and the matches that are not Atlanta United related, unless there's anything else on your mind involving Atlanta United. We'll get into that. And we'll talk about the twos and talk about what you need to do, fam. And you need to alert the masses as well when it comes to some activity involving Atlanta United too. So we'll get into that. We'll get into Open Cup. We have put out the bat signal for some folks. And with action tonight in Open Cup, we'll go over the juice boxes there. It is also the return of leagues play, considering that, you had the Premier League decided, tell you what, FA Cup, you can have the weekend. That'd be great. So you can do your thing, and it ends up with 3 matches today. So they're getting back into the swing of things in the Premier League. We'll get into that and discuss everything going on there, because it's today, tomorrow, and then it is what's today? So today is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then they're back at it Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And you want to know who really gets screwed out of this? And I know that there are a lot of folks that are going to sit there and go, well, I don't care. But Chelsea, I mean, look at it. So they're back today. The league is back today. They don't play till Thursday. They go Thursday, Sunday, and Spurs, technically. So it literally is Chelsea playing and Spurs are playing Thursday, and then they're playing on Sunday. So Thursday, Sunday for Spurs and Chelsea. I can sense a lot of violins and a lot of just open weeping involving that. But yeah, in this quick turn of midweek weekend that we see a lot here in the States with competitions and schedule compression and such, schedule compression for Chelsea and Spurs has gone Thursday, Sunday. I know, boohoo. But anyway, it was just, I was looking at the grid and I'm like, okay, so wait a second. So who's the last match? And it's Chelsea and Spurs on Thursday at 3. And then you flip around and you're like, when are they? It's like, and they're the early game on Chelsea's the early game on Sunday, and they're on the road at the GTAC, and then Spurs have a home match as one of the early kickoffs at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. So, G, thanks for dropping by. Holy ish. Morning, Alex. Morning, Soccer for Good OG. So, yeah. So we got all those news. We got news to catch up with there as well. And obviously, we're keeping an eye on what's going on in Kansas City with Peter Vermes. Peter Vermes mutually agreeing of the parting of the ways yesterday. And that happened during the show. We actually had news break during the show for a change. And the press conference is set for today at 1 o'clock Eastern. I think in our conversations with Daniel Sperry that we're going to end up catching up with Daniel on Thursday in hour number 1 before the power hour of Nino and Nico. So we'll get Daniel's thoughts about what's going on. Soccer writer for the Kansas City Star. So we'll catch up with him, get the vibe in Kansas City, and we'll discuss all of that. And we'll go through the rest of the weekend in Major League Soccer and get you ready for where we are coming into this week of preparation. Once again, Atlanta United prepping for FC Dallas and Lucho Acosta, and that will be on Saturday night. So as we mentioned yesterday, you're going to have some of you folks, the plus ones and the A-listers, who are going to be watching the first college hoop semifinal at the same time. 6:09 start. The boss is already trying to figure out her travel plan, not to San Antonio, but to figure out how to watch it, and trying to determine what the locale is going to be and what you're going to be doing. So that's the rundown for everything this morning when it comes to Major League Soccer and getting prepped for the weekend. So, all right. So there's the early rounds of material here for this morning. So, all right. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And I'm still trying to figure out the whole QR code thing. So I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Trust me. Still got to figure out how to upload, download, those kinds of things, and figure out how to properly make sure that all the information is done properly and I don't screw anything up. Because early days, full disclosure, early days here in trying the new software, I would always blow out backgrounds and I would blow out templates for guests and things, and it was pretty bad. So I'm gradually navigating that. So I'm not like clicking on something and changing it or eliminating it completely. So that was, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Absolutely getting there. Okay. So opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. QR code is out there somewhere. But if you start your day with Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com, then what you do when you check out, use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest in youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Now, this is a story from our friends at BN Sports. And this is where I get in my Fanatis promo, since I went ahead and mentioned BN. If you don't have, yes, Rich, absolutely. Thomas Mueller rumors as well to Philadelphia. And so if you end up with, by the way, today being what today is, I'm not going to be presenting any of those. I'm not going to be exacerbating anything of that sort. There's nothing from me that you're going to be getting that is going to be of an April 1st activity. Because it's too much thought, and the best ones are the ones that have that little bit of truth attached to it. It's like cutting a promo. It's like you're sitting there and it's like it's right on the edge and there's a little bit of truth to it. Those are the best ones. I'm not doing that today. We got too much news and too much stuff and too much to talk about. So we're not going to get wrapped up in, hey, did you see this story? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How'd you do? And have it not be a real story. It's too much time to sit there and go, nope, not happening. But anyway, came from our friends at BN, so you can get BN, all the BNs, Nuestro Telesitio for the fans, Teise, Liga 1 Max Pro, and our buddy Nino Torres at Gold TV at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here, and you get all of the you get all the BNs and you get all the stuff through our friends at Fanatis. Story came from our friends at BN Sports. And and the video's been there. When you watch Messi and Friends, you see this large, hulking mass of humanity that is keeping an eye on Lionel Messi and making sure that he doesn't get rushed or, anything happens to his person to where he is not affected physically. So that you see this massive bodyguard who almost looks like the villain heavy in Reacher season 3, except he's not 7'3" or whatever. You have, get this. So Yasin Chuko is the gentleman's name. And Yasin Chuko is probably about 250 pounds. That's my guess. That's my guess. Chuko's about 250, and if you've been to a Messi and Friends match, whether it's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium or at the Erector Set, you'll see Chuko on the sidelines, kind of keeping an eye on things. Got amazing closing speed for someone who is a defensive tackle-looking human being. And so we've seen Yasin Chuko with, Messi and Friends and making sure that Messi is okay. Apparently, now Messi is not going to have Chuko on the sidelines anymore. So Chuko has been gaining prominence, even went viral on social media. However, he has been informed that Major League Soccer has banned his presence in the stadia, including the Erector Set. A decision that Chuko did not take long to react to, expressing his total disagreement. Quote, I worked in Europe for 7 years in Liga and the Champions League, and only 6 people invaded the pitch. I came to the United States, and in 20 months of work, 16 people have already gotten on the field. I'm not the problem. Let me help Messi, end quote. This, however, is not the first claim made by Chuco since he started accompanying across the United States. In fact, last February, once again, this is from our friends at BN. He sent a strong message to the security staff present at MLS Stadium. Quote, "It's not my job to stop fans who invade the pitch. That's the responsibility of the stadium security. But let's be honest, most of them aren't fully focused on their duties," end quote. In his interview with House of Highlight, he also defended his work as a member of CONCACAF security, where he's supposed to continue working during the matches of the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza. Quote, "I love the MLS and CONCACAF, but we need to work together. I love helping. I'm not better than anyone, but I have a lot of experience in Europe, and that's fine. I understand their decision, but I think we could do something better." So there will be no Chuco to kick around anymore. You're on your own, Major League Soccer. That's going to be kind of disappointing because he's a fixture, but you wonder that's like I said, that's just one side of it. We do not know MLS's perspective on Chuco and why he's no longer allowed on the touch lines or in the buildings to be there as security for Lionel Messi. But you won't have Chuco to run into anymore, apparently, in these events. No reason given as to why. I would think that if you are someone of a certain level of certain level of stardom and fandom, and folks wanting to chase after you, that you're going to need that extra level of security. And I mean, we all go into buildings and we can sit there and we look in folks with earpieces and things like that, and we sit there and it's like, okay, well, there's security, and there's security. I get it. Morning, Lokeville, morning, Rich. So I would love to know. Maybe they feel that the Chuco is equally intrusive. I don't know. But like I said, apparently, according to Chuco, he is no longer allowed to be security at matches in Major League Soccer. Don't be surprised, though, if he continues to be security in instances that are off the field, at the practice facility, shopping at a Publix, chasing after, where shopping is a pleasure. But as of right now, any match that you'll be attending, there is this apparent thought that Chuco is either a distraction or one extra body that folks need to be accounting for, and so he is no longer going to be securitying for Lionel Messi in the near future, or at least at MLS events. So that hulking massive humanity that is Yassine Chuco, the Messi bodyguard, is not going to be allowed on the field. Like I said, MLS has not said why. Venues have not said why. But according to Chuco, he is no longer allowed to play in the MLS security reindeer games. So we'll keep an eye on that and find out what in the wide world of sports is going on there. And we will continue to effort as to the why. That's opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. QR code's out there in the ether somewhere. I'm sure that Abby has it, and I'm sure that I have it. Just trying to make sure that it's here where I don't screw anything up. So in lieu of not seeing a QR code blocking my face, then please go to Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And when you check out, use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest it in youth games, youth initiatives, stuff that they have earmarked as cool at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. All right, your promos. Don't forget, once again, and thanks to our friends at the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. They came on last week. I've still got some scarves. If you're going to get the Marshall Islands gear, you can get it from them. It ships from London, except for the scarf, which ships from me. I have to ship one to, I think, Ohio. I got that one yesterday. And so Ohio is asking for scarves. So if you wish to continue to help out the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation and make sure that they can continue their work when it comes to the last nation on this planet trying to put together a national soccer program, then go to their website. You can get all the gear. You'll see Maddie modeling a scarf which was her intern project, part of her intern project, being part of an international marketing campaign. And you can get the scarves. You can order the scarf. The scarf gets shipped from me. Or if you see me in person, if you want to order it locally and you want to see me like Saturday at Mercedes-Benz, I can go behind this door and get scarves and pack them, and then we can meet up with each other at some point on Saturday at Mercedes-Benz. But you can help out the Marshall Islands that way. Also, you can get our first ever Olive and York jersey. I don't know how many of you have done that. I have mine. The models Madison Cruz and Sophia Cupertino and Greg Garza modeled at alongside the Chattahoochee River. So get your navy little flop collar, 1990s, 80s retro throwback kind of a thing. Thanks to our friends at Kaiser Permanente for being across the front. Beyond Goals Mentoring, Soccer for Good. You can get it personalized, the Navy jersey. You can get it personalized either in white letters and numerals, or you can get it in the lighter blue. See, I can't say Carolina blue. I don't think I can, especially to Michael Parkhurst. But Parky got his, and he is helping out once again. He's helping out with Soccer for Good and with Beyond Goals. Don't forget, you can go to Olive and York and get your first ever SDH jersey, and our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Once again, can't do any of this without them. Can't do any of this without you, but Kaiser Permanente across the front. Go to Olive and York, get your SDH jersey. Also, what you can do is go to Grady Baby Co., and you can get your Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta gear. Red, black, sweatshirt, T-shirt, gold embossed. Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta. SDH Network here. Grady Baby logo there. And the boss has stolen the black one, and so I have to wear the red one. Very, very comfortable. And once again, if you help out Grady Baby, what you're doing is you're helping out middle school soccer programs attached to the Atlanta Public School System. So there's that to help and aid in how things go. At soccerdownhere.net, you can get all of our new SDH Network gear, and you can also get some stuff with the Ruckus and the Attack. I believe those are the two franchises that Jason has done some retro artwork for, and you can get that gear as well. You can go to soccerdownhere.net. You can get all the gear there, and you can continue to add to your stacks, because when I add to the stacks, the boss ends up taking it first, and so she ends up wearing most of our gear long before I do. And morning, Harry. And yes, by the way, I am wearing the same sweatshirt that I wore yesterday, because I wore it for the show. And I know a lot of you sit there and go, man, do you sleep in your gear? Pretty much. But what happened yesterday was I wore this for a couple of hours, and then, the front came through and the weather came through and everything. And so it's like, okay, I've got to get ready and go to Walton for Walton and Marist. And so I took the sweatshirt off. And so I come down here to the office this morning, and I had a T-shirt on, and I still do. It is respecting the dearly departed San Francisco State University soccer program. And so I come down here to the office, and it is freezing. So what I ended up doing was going back upstairs, getting the sweatshirt that I wore on the show yesterday, putting it on this morning, and that's where we are. So that is that is how the wardrobe works sometimes. You sit there, and it's like, okay, I can try to be as artistic as humanly possible when it comes to the gear, and it's like, what message do I wish to express today? And I was thinking, I could sit there and show support for San Francisco State. Freezing my butt off. I'm like, yeah, well, so much for that idea. So ends up with me wearing the same sweatshirt that I wore yesterday. And once again, living like a bachelor. I know that shocks each and every one of you. So today, a couple of quick things. CONMEBOL has announced the rule where keepers can hold the ball for only 8 seconds before the ref awards a corner to the opposition. That will be in use in Libertadores and Sudamericana. Note from the Secretaries General. Notice from the Secretaries General in CONMEBOL. So you got that. That's keep an eye on that. And when I know that we're all going to have our timers up, where it's going to be like, is it 8? I don't know. Is it more than 8? Probably. Just saying. All right, so the boss is off to physical therapy. and just need to make sure that she is in good shape there. She got the cast off, and she's got the plate. She's got to get her note card from the physician that she's got a plate. So when she goes through metal detectors in airports, they don't freak out, to make sure that's like, why is this going off? Well, I have a plate here, and then you actually do get a card. You can sit there and go, "Pfft, here's why." You sit there and it's like an excused absence. So we'll see how the boss continues to go with physical therapy. All right. Here's a rundown for this morning. We have put out the bat signal for some Open Cup guests, and we'll see what happens. We do have Open Cup tonight. We'll go over the juice boxes and that in a bit. There are 5 matches tonight. And so there's one match later this week involving Chattanooga FC and Chattanooga Red Wolves. That one's going to be spicy. That one's I think that one's tomorrow night. So that's going to be a part of it. 5 matches today. We put out the bat signal for the morning, and we'll see if any of the folks that are lounging around the hotel want to take, 10 minutes or so and just kind of let everybody know what's going on as they get ready for their matchups. So we'll drift into Open Cup a little bit, drift into the news of the morning. Like I said, Premier League is back up and running. Go over the juice boxes of that. Go over what else is on your mind from Atlanta United, what else is on your mind from any of the other leagues. Tuesday is kind of like our day where we catch up on things that we catch up on, and whatever is, and also get you ready for the Tuesday day in and of itself. So if there was anything that was left on the table from yesterday, bring it here in Tuesday, and then we get everything pushed for the remainder of the week. Speaking of the remainder of the week, Tyler's going to join us tomorrow at 9:15. Dylan Butler's going to join us at 10. Obviously, we're efforting guests from Major League Soccer, getting ready for the weekend as well. We mentioned Daniel Sperry from the Kansas City Star. The press conference, Zoom Palooza, is going to be at 1 o'clock East Coast time, where the co-owner of Sporting Kansas City is going to discuss the departure of Peter Vermes. So hoping they have Daniel Sperry on Thursday in the 9 o'clock hour leading into Nino and Nico. Friday, once again, hopefully we can catch up with our friends at Beyond Goals at 9:30, and then we can whip around in hour number 2, and that gets you ready for match week involving FC Dallas. We are also efforting folks out of Dallas to discuss the FC Dallas side of things. High school soccer last night, it was Marist and Walton in a non-region game. They were like, yeah, we'll go ahead and pair up. 2 teams on the girls' side I would anticipate going very, very deep in the playoffs. Goalless draw after 80, went to penalties, and a shot off the post in the 5th frame, and that was the difference. And so Walton ends up with the win in PKs. We are going to have 2 locations. We'll have both SDH and SDH2 up and running on Thursday. That'll be the next day that we have activity. It'll be Dutchtown and Trinity Christian on one channel. It will be Toombs County and Hebron Christian on the other channel. So SDH1 and SDH2 will be up and running on Thursday. Soccer is in session tomorrow at noon to get you ready for the rest of the week in region and non-region play. And Friday, we do have a matchup circled, and we are trying to, once again, secure this particular matchup. And when it is secured, we'll let you know what it is. But we have a matchup circled. We are in negotiations and discussions, and it would be another doubleheader on Friday on SDH. So soccerdownhere.mixler.com or soccerdownhere2, the number 2.mixler.com, and you get all the live action. And don't forget to set up your notifications, because you get an email blast when a broadcast is up and running. So you can get those email blasts going as well when it comes to, okay, so you got something live on, whether it's the twos or whether it's high school or whatever. So you get your email notifications that way, and it's all squared away in that particular all particular matchups. All right, so there you go. All right, coming from the rest of Major League Soccer from the weekend. Once again, any other stories on your mind, go ahead and throw them in the queue and we'll talk about them. From the rest of the weekend in Major League Soccer, and we'll go over juice boxes, retro juice boxes, and we also have a couple of other things going on tonight as well, Open Cup and crossovers and things like that. So we'll get into all of that. Columbus and Lex SC, by the way, kicks things off at 6 o'clock on the U.S. Soccer YouTube channel. So last week in Major League Soccer, here was the rundown of the weekend. And we discussed it yesterday with the penalty kick call, the PK call that went to VAR. New England got points this season. They finally ended up getting more than 1 point. They ended up full with the late PK conversion, and it was a late goal by Carlos Heel, and then the PK. So New England gets a win over Red Bulls 2-1. Toronto and Vancouver, none of us can get our lives back. If any of you watched that match, I don't know. I mean, more power to you, I guess. Vancouver had more possession. So now I'm just going to take this from the Toronto perspective. Toronto had 6 shots. Vancouver had 10 more. Half of those shots on target. Vancouver had 5 shots on target of the 16, but Toronto only had 6 shots total. 3 shots, 3 blocked. Passing accuracy at under 80%. 15 corners in the match, 12 of them went to Vancouver. 24 total crosses, 2/3 of those went to Vancouver. At least they had more offside than Vancouver did, 3-2. XG was 3 times for Vancouver what it was for Toronto. 4 saves to 3 for Toronto, 11 clearances to 9, 16 fouls to 14. So a fairly even match outside of the and that included the idea of no goals being scored. But Toronto, Vancouver, goalless draw. None of us can get our lives back on that one. Colorado beat Charlotte 2-0. Georgi Mihailovic, 2 goals in 3 minutes, one of them a PK. And so Charlotte, you're going, okay, well, which Charlotte team am I getting here? They had more possession. They were outshot 22-10. Total crosses, 12 of the 15 went to Colorado. XG, get this, the XG on the day was almost 4 times. 3.3 to 0.8 if you believe in those kinds of things. But 2 goals for Georgi Mihailovic in a short period of time. And Charlotte, once again, I think Charlotte is who we think they are. Zaha on a vert, and then everybody else fills in behind right now. That seems to be the philosophy of Dean Smith. Columbus beat DC 2-1 at Audi Field. Benteke scored in the 13th, and then Diego Rossi continues to be either completely on or completely off. He is a light switch. You can't have a light switch in the middle because then you start to hear the shorts and the electricity, and then you might blow a fuse or something. Diego Rossi, to me, is a light switch. Either completely on or completely off. Waiting for the idea to happen there. It's like, okay, on, off, on, off, on. Diego Rossi was on. Benteke scored in the 13th. Rossi came back and scored 3 minutes later. And then it was 1-1 at the break, and then Rossi scored in the 65th to make it 2-1. That was your final. For DC, shots even 8-8. 6 shots on target for Columbus, only 2 for DC. XG 1.7 to 1 for DC. Like I said, I always get squirrely on the math and figuring out an XG. I saw it most of the time. I just end up going with the final score. But anyway, 2-1 Columbus comes from behind to beat DC. I wonder where Troy Lacine's patience level is when it comes to the front office in DC. Inter Miami, Messi and friends beat Philadelphia 2-1. Sorry, Rich. So Robert Taylor, Lionel Messi, I don't know if you've heard of him. Taylor scores in the 23rd. Messi scored in the 57th. Welcome back. And now he's like corporate Messi. He's no longer like shaggy emo Messi. He's now corporate Messi. It's like next thing you anticipate him wandering out of the locker room wearing a 3-piece suit, looking like Cody Rhodes, straight up businessman, briefcase, the whole deal. Gazdag scored 10 minutes to go to make it 2-1. And I think the the personification of how Messi can get under folks' skin. And I don't know if you saw this video, but Lionel Messi was posting up against Oluwatu Makanya, and he kind of bumps into Makanya 3 times. He's like posting up, it's like literally, it's like the car that's trying to smash into the parking space. You back up, you back in, you back up, you back in, you back up, you back in. So on the 4th time, Makanya had enough, and he apparently literally just kind of just shoves Messi, and then Messi falls, and it's a foul. So that's, once again, the frustration of dealing with corporate Messi in that particular match. 2-1 your final, Messi and friends over Philadelphia, and they continue to be at the top of the standings in the Eastern Conference. We'll go over standings on the whole in just a bit. Chicago and Montreal, I honestly thought I was going to get more out of Chicago than I did. So if a new coach bump in Montreal is an assistant and you get a draw, that shows you, I guess, where CF Montreal is. I totally expected more out of Chicago in this one. Didn't get it. And it ends up with Zinkernagel scoring in the first half and then Seeley scoring in the second half, 1-1. Nobody scored the final 40 minutes, and no one's going to get that 90 minutes of their life back. What ended up as the death knell for Peter Vermes, the 2-1 win for Dallas at Toyota over Kansas City. Shallowy scored to make it 1-0. Then Acosta and Leo Chu scored 2 minutes apart in the 37th and the 39th. 2-1 your final, and Peter Vermes is out. Minnesota at home knocks off RSL. RSL's traditionally just not good on the road. Tani Oluwase scored on either side of halftime. 2-0 your final there. Cincinnati beat Nashville at Geodis. Bauer scored in the 39th. Denke, who's back from international duty, scored 4 minutes later. Evander scored 4 minutes later. Then Denke scored in a PK at 90+1 for the difference. So Evander's golazo is probably going to be up there for goal of the week. Monitor appropriately. Purple team beat LAG, and where we see everybody losing patience with other clubs right now, I think everybody understands with LAG, with the injuries, no Ricky Puig, and you're getting Paintsel back. It's going to take some time. C-Ram, Christian Ramirez scored in the 14th minute. And you had a 1-0 lead going into the final 15. Ojeda scores from the spot, and then Luis Muriel scores in the 90th minute. But I think the larger question is in net for LAG. That's the larger element in this, is where Greg Vanney seems to be trying to determine who his keeper is. Is it McCarthy or is it Mikovic? That seems to be the question, and Greg Vanney can't seem to settle on it right now. McCarthy was in this matchup against the purple team. By the way, Paintsel was on the bench to start things off. So because of yellow card accumulation and such, Dan Kalichman was your match day manager, along with Jason Benton, Nick Theslov. You did not have Greg Vanney. Not that it necessarily has any real impact except in game day implementation or anything like that. But Paintsel on the bench, you're getting him back. But the larger question in LAG seems to be in net. Is it McCarthy? Is it Mikovic? Neither seems to be doing the job to the great satisfaction of anyone and everyone that's attached. But Orlando got the Duke on the road. LA's at the bottom of the table in the West. Once again, we'll take a peek at that in a second. San Diego and LAFC, SoCali Classico. This one was about as crazy as we figured it would be. McVeigh, Valakari, Mighton score. 3-0 San Diego after 40 minutes. Smolyakov scored at the 43rd. Under at 45+5. So literally it was 3-2 at the break. Igor Jesus got an early second half red card, so he will not be available this week. But 3-2 at the break, 3-2 your final. And to sit there and look at the numbers in this one, San Diego had 60% of the possession. 14 shots to 12, 6 shots on goal to 4, 4 blocked shots to 2, 776 total passes in that match for San Diego. Holy crap. 776 total passes. I mean, when you're a man up, I can see why. You're sitting there, bing, 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 bing. 92% accuracy, just under it. 458 total passes, 89% for LAFC. Total crosses 8-2 for San Diego. Won 5 of the 8 duels. XG 3.3 to 2.1. 5 saves, 3 to LAFC and 2 to CJ Dos Santos. 7 clearances for LAFC. 20 fouls, 12 of them for San Diego. 4 yellows for San Diego. 3 yellows and the red for LAFC. Yellow card to Chucky Lozano. Welcome back, Chucky. Yellow card to Kumado. Yellow card to Segura. Igor Jesus got a second yellow to account for the red. Tverskov. Igor Jesus in the 20th and then the 53rd. So literally he's playing on a yellow for 25 minutes, gets to halftime. Then another 8, and then he gets a yellow. Second yellow, and he's gone. Martinez gets a yellow in the 19th. Negri got a yellow in the 14th to try and set an early tone in that one. Torrey Penso, Jeremy Chieso, Callie Smith, and Ricardo Fierro. VAR Daniel Radford. AVAR Kyle Atkins in front of 32,500 at Snapdragon. Oh, not denying. And Rich, I'll get to your Olawasei video in a second. 20 fouls, 12 of them to San Diego, 4 yellows for San Diego, 3 yellows for LAFC in the red card. So 3-2 at the break, and it ends up with it being 3-2 3-2 at the half and 3-2 final. So that was where it ended up. But the larger point, I think, in all of it was the stuff that happened after the match in and of itself. And you had a lot of fans that were not liking one another and tried to take it out upon each other out in the parking lot. So, and there was one video that came out of San Diego that was nasty. That was pretty bad. A couple of fans getting into it and one getting sucker punched from behind. So, SoCali Classico, 3-2 San Diego in the final. San Jose and Seattle, a 1-1 draw at PayPal Park. We'll talk to Nico Moreno about it on Thursday, plus the Ryan Kent signing that is apparently dropping today. They posted the social media video about, making the jersey and everything, and you're hot pressing everything. And so I believe that's going to happen today. Ryan Kent gets added. We'll talk to Nico about Ryan Kent and how his first couple of days at school were on Thursday in the last half hour of the show. Austin beat St. Louis in a game that took a while because of weather. And Austin got a goal on the board. Then the game was suspended, I think, with about 25 to go because of weather in the area. Izuni scored in the 33rd, and that was the difference. By the time that you got into halftime, came back out, had your weather delay, came back and finished, and then you had St. Louis City SC, and Austin continued to play the second teams. MLS Next Pro teams had a doubleheader there after that. But Austin wins. They move on. Portland beat Houston 3-1 at Providence Park. I think if you're looking at folks, you might be looking at Ben Olsen, just for quick trigger fingers and things like that. Mora scored in the 60th. Anthony got the double, 23rd and 71st minute, but not before regular season Franco Escobar scores for Houston. And the Dynamo get there, drawing even at 1, but then 2 goals by Anthony, 11 minutes later, and then 1 in the second half. Portland wins at 3-1. And so Portland admits that they can play better after that match. So we'll see how well Portland can play better. But they are scoring a lot, and so folks are having to keep up with Phil Neville and trying to find out what is how can we catch on a daily basis, how can we catch Portland offensively. So the Eastern Conference standings, and like I said, and Rich, I will get into the Messi and friends in a second. Miami at 13 points after 5, match in hand, point on top of Philadelphia and Columbus. Philadelphia right now, obviously, more wins, 4-3 over Columbus, and they've got just as many points at 12. Chicago is, after 6 matches, with 11 points. Charlotte, Nashville, Orlando, Cincinnati, all at 3-2-1. all at 3-2-1. Goal difference, Charlotte's ahead of Nashville on goals scored. So they have the same number of goal difference. Then they go to goals scored. So Charlotte's in 5th, Nashville's in 6th, 10 goals scored to 9. Orlando is a +3 in goal difference. Cincinnati is a -1 in goal difference. New York, Red Bulls, and NYC, and Atlanta, they're all at 8 points, 2-2-2 across the board. Atlanta United has the worst goal difference of all three. That gets you to 12th in DC. DC has 6 points, 1-2-3. New England get their first win. They're at 4 points. Frankly, they got lucky. Sorry, Shooter. It was a late salvo by Carlos Heel, and then the PK call, which was the right call as we talked about yesterday. Then Toronto and Montreal, both 0-4-2. Toronto has better goal difference, -6 to -7. Montreal's only scored 3 goals in 6 matches. 2 of those were against Atlanta United in the season opener. Since then, 1 goal in 5. They have one more match away from home. And remember, what I said still applies. If there is a win, this weekend by Toronto FC, by Montreal, by CF Montreal. CF Montreal goes into Columbus, and Columbus, remember, is coming off of Open Cup. So if Columbus loses to Montreal, Montreal gets full points, and I mean full points, not a draw or anything, but full points, first win of the season. I will drink Diet Mountain Dew in the air. That's not going to change. That wager is still there. That wager is still there. That if CF Montreal wins this weekend, their last road game to start the season, still no idea who is being looked at to be the new head coach in Montreal. I know, Derek. I know it is. I know it's risky. If. This is how confident I am, either in the rest of MLS or how lacking in confidence I am with CF Montreal. If CF Montreal wins on the weekend, you will see me drink Diet Mountain Dew in the air. Because as you well know, this is regular. This is not unleaded. This is regular. It's the only regular that I drink during the day, though. And just to prove that it's not just a cup, those of you who are watching on video, here it is. There's your 2-liter right there. So it's the regular stuff. If there is a win this weekend from CF Montreal, I'm drinking Diet Mountain Dew on the air. And you will see that it is Diet Mountain Dew. I'm not just going to hide it in a cup or anything and sit there and say that it is. And, well, he's got to, no, it's going to be legit. It will be a legit drinking of a product, Trust me. I will drink Diet Mountain Dew in the air. But that's how confident I am in CF Montreal losing that 7th road game in a row to start their season. That is the Eastern Conference. Western Conference, Vancouver still on top. I will sit here and say it. Early returns being what they are. Early on, I said that I didn't know what Vancouver was going to hold. Yeah, you still had some of the same players, but you've got a new coach, new coaching staff, all the things. Right now, unaffected. One of the top offenses in the Western Conference. 13 points, 1 point ahead of Austin. I did not have that in early returns. San Diego in 3rd. I did not have that in early returns. Minnesota, 4th. That was about close. San Diego, Minnesota, Colorado, each with the same record. San Diego's got a better goal difference than Minnesota and Colorado right now. That's your 3, 4, 5. Portland with the win. I thought there were going to be problems. But right now, Portland's scoring goals. 10 points ahead of Dallas on goal difference. Dallas at 3-2-1. LAFC at 9 points at 3-3. St. Louis City at 8 points. They're the 9. Morning, Tom Cato from New Hampshire. San Jose, not knowing which San Jose you're going to get. The San Jose boxes of chocolate, they're in 10th. RSL, 6.6 matches. Seattle, 6.6 matches. The horrendous goal difference, by the way. for Seattle. Seattle's 1-2-3. 8 scored, 8 against. RSL has given up 11 goals. They've only scored 5, and they're 2-4. So it's a battle of extremes with RSL. RSL 2-4 in the year. They've only scored 5 goals. They've given up 11. They've got 6 points. And then at the bottom, and like I said, we already found out what was going to happen with Peter Vermes, losing 5 of your first 6. You've only scored 6 goals in 6 matches. You've given up 12. Losing by an aggregate of 2-1 over your first 6 matches is not good. Parting of the ways with Peter Vermes happening yesterday on the show. Once again, Kerry Zavagnin is going to be the interim head coach for the rest of the year. And now the shopping begins for Sporting, and we'll see what happens. But then you look at Houston. 0-4-2 out of the blocks, and we probably should have Glenn Davis on to discuss this at some point. 0-4-2 out of the blocks. You've only scored 4 goals. Remember, you moved Coco Carrasquilla on. Don't know if you've found suitable replacements, or if you thought you found suitable replacements, they're not contributing to the levels that you wanted them to. But Houston right now, they've only scored 4 goals in 6 matches. They've given up 11. 0-4-2, much like Los Angeles. But like I said, with Los Angeles, short of the keeper issues that we're seeing with Los Angeles, we know the injury issues. Paintsel on the bench, working his way back into playing shape. You don't have Ricky Puig. Marco Royce, Diego Fagundes expected to step up. They have not. So I think that Greg Vanney is out of that discussion. Patience level being what it is, considering that you just won MLS Cup and 2 of your big players are injured. But Houston, look at Houston. I think that's one where you sit there and the warning lights are going right now. You're checking your driver's console, and there's like a light going. Your check engine light's going with Houston right now. And we know what's going on with Montreal. Laurent Courtois out. You look at Robin Fraser. I would imagine that Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment is patient because they still have some financial things that they need to work out and trying to figure out who they're keeping and who they might be bringing in. But you never know. Right now, Laurent Courtois out. If I'm Laurent Courtois, or if I'm Wilfred Nancy, my first phone call is to Laurent Courtois. Hey, bro, you want to come in? You want to come back? You want to get back into Major League Soccer? You want to come back and get the band back together? That literally would be my first phone call if Wilfred Nancy is calling somebody. I'm calling Laurent Courtois. But that's your standings after this particular match week. But the points that were made. The points that were made, Rich read an article on Choico's field banning. He says 100% has to be coming from another team owner whose stadium security union probably complained about him doing their job. And that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. But I would also posit in my defense, if I was Messi and friends, I'd sit there and go, look, it's not like he's just, Joe Schmo from Lee Summit, Missouri, who's out there on the field. You're talking about one of the world's largest assets in the sport. But to your point, Rich, it would not surprise me if there was some Yellow Jacket union that came into play and was like, well, why is he here? We're doing our job. He's helping you do your job. The fact that he has the MMA training that he has, and I think there's a workout that was posted with Choico. The fact that he's got an MMA background and can pretty much take out anybody and has fantastic closing speed for someone who is as large as he is. He's helping you do your job. But apparently, and to Rich's point, like I said, I think to Rich's point, literally it would be one of those where you're like, if just saying, you might need a little help. He's not, like I said, he's not just from Lee Summit, Missouri, and he's out there in right wing for Messi and friends. He's messy. I'm here to help, but it would not surprise Rich if you were correct. Morning, Harry. If it was somebody. And absolutely it was a flop. Absolutely it was a flop. Yeah, Rich looking at the video. Messi flopped. End of. Yeah. Oh, absolutely he did. I mean, yeah, Messi's banging into him. He's banging into the parking space, and Olowokandi gives him the push, and of course Messi just goes flying 10 yards forward, gets the foul call. Oh, absolutely. Yes, Abel. Messi dives and gets the foul. That never happened. Never happens. But yeah, it was funny. Literally, Messi's back in the car into the parking space three times. Fourth time, Olowokandi pushes him. It's like he backs into him. Olowokandi pushes, and then Messi launches himself toward Pittsburgh. Messi got the foul call. So, yes. And so, okay, so Harry's betting Montreal loses by multiple goals. All right, so since we're there, we'll go ahead and drift into the juice boxes. So let me check the early juice boxes. Obviously, as the week goes along, we'll continue to check them. But right now, CF Montreal on the road in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal, is a plus 518. Crew is a minus 222. 90-minute draws a plus 354. So those are the numbers leaning into this matchup, and they're one of the 740s. There are a lot of 740s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 740s this upcoming week on Saturday in Major League Soccer. But yes, CF Montreal on the road at Crew at a plus 518. I wouldn't touch that from anybody. I wouldn't let you touch it. So, yeah, Montreal, nope. But yeah, Harry, it's looking bad. And like I said, Tom, good morning. May everything in New Hampshire be cold and crisp, and make sure that everything is okay meteorologically. Because like I said, right now, Midwest, upper Midwest, it's going to get nasty, and it's going to get nastier as the week goes along. Anyway, so that's what we're staring at from the week that was in Major League Soccer. And you're going, whoo. Yeah, there's some stuff out there, you know. How many coaches and what's the career dissipation like on all these things? We've already had 2 go. One because an owner is who the owner is, and the other, once again, with Peter Vermes, you kind of drifted in and out. You're kind of going, you know, and it's, does he have the right to retire on his own terms? And you're thinking perhaps, and then maybe, and then he always comes back, and then everything is there, and then it's not, and then it's there, and then it's not, and okay. Finally just got to the point where you're done. Speaking of LAFC, by the way, don't know if you've heard this, but remember, the FIFA is considering an LAFC Club America playoff to replace Leon at the Club World Cup. I know a venue that's about 8 miles away from here, I'm sure, that would love to host it. Considering the 1-game playoff, the winner of this one would also get $9.5 million in prize money, because that's what CONCACAF qualifiers get. And then they would be Chelsea's first opponent in the tournament that's going to be held here in April, May, in a couple of months. FIFA said it was considering LAFC and Club America as the playoff teams. Once again, those 2 selections continue to make Alajuelense mad, because it was their complaint back last year that led to Leon getting ousted from the tournament. FIFA expelled Leon last week because of the club sharing ownership group with Grupo Pachuca. Pachuca qualified winning in 24. Leon qualified winning in 23. Same tournament, CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza. Both clubs are owned by Grupo Pachuca, which has stakes in Real Oviedo, among others. Article 10 of FIFA's regs for the Club World Cup stipulate, quote, no individual or legal entity may have control or influence over more than one club participating in the competition, and that if 2 or more clubs fail to meet the criteria, only one of them may be admitted to the competition, end quote. Alajuelense submitted the complaint back in November, then went to CAS in January. FIFA expelled Leon last week, but they didn't say what they were going to do about a replacement. Grupo Pachuca said it would argue their case to CAS in a hearing that's going to happen in 3 weeks in Madrid. And I have this vision in my mind of either a dude with a letter opener behind a large desk or a pen that he's wagging into a television camera, or maybe just wildly gesticulating in general and taking papers and sweeping them off a large desk, turning over snack machines in a break room. Grupo Pachuca in a statement. So whomever you personified with that individual making that statement, quote, "We are dissatisfied with this decision and will appeal it to the fullest extent possible. We will defend what was won on the field." Okay. Like I said, I figured this is one of these. It's one of these, or it's a letter opener, and the guy's kind of twiddling with it, or the individual's twiddling with the letter opener, or it's one of those where that's what they're gonna do, and then the guy then whomever the individual is takes his left hand and he just sweeps all of the papers off of the desk and comes up with that 2-sentence statement. Governor Lepedemain, I didn't get a harumph out of you. Sweep the papers off. We are dissatisfied with this decision. Stomp your feet, kind of like Veruca Salt and Willy Wonka. I want it now, Daddy. I want it now. You stomp your feet. Alawalense did not make the direct appeal for themselves, although they have encouraged. Alawalense has said, well, we should be next in line. They haven't gone through the official channels, but there have been folks in Costa Rica who have intimated, who are close to Alawalense, yeah, it should be us. There's like this list. There's this list of teams that they're like, nope, should be us. No, should be us. It should be us. No, it's us. We'll just do Elimination Chamber and get it over with. FIFA's Club World Cup regs work in Alawalense's favor, according to Alex Abnos at The Guardian. Winning your Confederations Championship or landing high enough in FIFA's club ranking, which takes into account results over the previous 4 years, separating teams by confederation. Importantly, FIFA also stipulates that no more than 2 clubs per country may participate in the tournament unless those clubs have qualified, winning their Confederations Championship. Example, the first of the UEFA 12 Club World Cup spots went to the winners of the 4 previous Champions Leagues. Manchester City, who has issues of their own that we'll get into in a second. Chelsea and Real Madrid, who won it twice. So that leaves 9 spots open. And those were allocated on the 4-year ranking in FIFA. Red Bull Salzburg makes it over Liverpool, Barca, Milan, and RB Leipzig because those clubs' countries had already qualified 2 or more teams in the competition, while Austria did not. CONCACAF was given 4 in the competition, plus the additional host country spot for the U.S., which we had pegged, all of us here, when we saw that codicil of the host country spot. That host country spot, you get the host country spot. Who in their right mind was going to sit there and say, well, yeah, it's going to be Sporting Jacks. No offense. It's going to be Sprayberry High School, or it's going to be, Duluth FC and our buddy John Schuster. It's going to be one of those. No. When all of us here in the collective saw that you had that host country optional spot, or whatever the heck they called it. What did they call it? The host country spot, just the host country spot. When the host country spot came available, who for a second did not guess what club was going to go in that host country spot? We absolutely all had it pegged here. All of you in the Twitch pitch, all of us here, slot whatever, 30 or 32. Yeah, slot 32. Of course, it was going to go to Messi and friends. And then Infantino shows up and he just storms onto the field late in the MLS season. And the first match of the Club World Cup is going to be at Hard Rock. What? Folks at Hard Rock are like, oh, that's news to us. So that's where we are. Alawalense is kind of like, well, fam, we've got the numbers. Pachuca and Leon, the other qualifiers included Seattle and Monterrey, who won the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza. So now without Leon and Inter Miami, both Mexico and U.S. still get represented by the maximum number of 2, Monterrey, Pachuca, Sounders, and Messi and friends. Article 10 of its regulations, FIFA, says that the General Secretariat, in quotation marks, should decide how to replace a club that runs afoul of the multi-club ownership rules. Regulations state the decision should take into account, in particular, the respective rankings of the clubs concerned and the applicable quota per confederation and or member association. So if FIFA blocks clubs from the U.S. and Mexico from taking Leon's place, then it goes to the 4-year ranking system, and the highest non-Mexico, non-U.S. or non-American franchise available is Alawalense, and they're at 15. FIFA said LAFC was selected for the playoff because of their status as a runner-up to Leon in the 23 CCC. Club America was selected by being the top-ranked team in the FIFA Club World Cup Confederation ranking, through which qualification is also determined. Leon players and staff have spoken out against the decision to expel him. Captain Andres Guardado taking a dig at Alawalense. Quote, the teams raising their hands for the right to compete in our place should be ashamed of themselves. It is a brutal injustice. So that's where we are with the Club World Cup. We still have Team 32 to be figured out. David, how did it take so long to expel them? So FIFA stupid. Well, yeah, it just kind of like, you're just kind of thinking. You're kind of like, I think it'd be, it'd be a great idea. That sounds fantastic. We'll take it under advisement. And so they go back to Lausanne, Switzerland. Today, I feel arbiter. You try and figure it out. So what's the timetable here? I mean, honestly, I think what they do is they try to come up with solutions while kicking the can down the road, simultaneously trying to see if somebody else will come up with a solution as well. Okay, if we have to. And then they try to make it into a situation that is virtually impossible for some folks to try to navigate. If you're really interested, then you got to get a team together by X date. But no, a lot of this, they kind of wait for a while. And then, okay. Then you've got to come up with something, David. So that's, and Tom, to Tom's point, apparently they're only dissatisfied. I mean, when you're putting together a press release, in 2 sentences, we are dissatisfied. Okay. Well, that's cool. So you're just a little mad is what you're saying. Yeah. Instead of putting together this rage promo of like 5 paragraphs explaining your situation, we are extremely dissatisfied. Or just we are dissatisfied. Was it just dissatisfaction or was it extreme dissatisfaction? We're just dissatisfied. So it was just straight up dissatisfaction. Okay. So, yeah, we are dissatisfied. I mean, come on, man. Light a fire under it. Say that you're more than just dissatisfied and put it into a 5-paragraph essay and make it count, man. Make it count. We are dissatisfied. I mean, literally, that just sounds like you're walking up to the customer service table and you hit your you want to pound the table with your hand because you got a bad ticket or you got the wrong size and you're going back to exchange it. I am dissatisfied with this shirt. And then you pound the table. What's that going to get? Is the customer service rep going to sit there and be that much more influenced if you sit there and yell and get mad and pound the table? I didn't like this shirt. Pound. The customer service rep on the other side of the table is going to sit there and go, do you have your receipt? And you sit there and you fumble for it, and the line gets longer behind you. Yeah, here it is. It's not on this receipt. Yeah, it is. It's right there. Well, why are you returning this shirt? I don't like it. That's not a reason, sir. Is it the wrong size? No, it was the right size. Is it the right color? Was it the wrong color? No, color was fine. I'm just dissatisfied with it. Okay. You can't just shove the box and the receipt to the customer service rep and expect them to like jump. So if you go into it, especially if you're mad from the beginning, that CSR is going to sit there and really kind of just, spin their wheels. But if you go into the customer service department, I'd like to exchange this, please. And what's wrong with it? It was the wrong size. The person who bought it for me, they weren't, they thought I was one size and it's another, and it's just the wrong size, and I need to get a refund for it, or I need to exchange it. Okay. See what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to get more with honey than with vinegar by saying they're dissatisfied. We're dissatisfied. It's like when Rachel came wandering in the pilot for Friends, and Ross is talking about he wants to be married, and Rachel comes through the door. Chandler goes, "I'd like $1 million." That's kind of what we're getting into here. So yes, Tom, only dissatisfied. That's very disappointing. Why do I always get a warped one? In lieu of participation, yes. Kessie, in lieu of participation, here's a box of fidget spinners. And by the way, those fidget spinners, they actually do have the Club World Cup logo on them. Or it's the fidget spinner that is the test toy that is the replica of the trophy. And so the fidget spinner is actually the arcs of the trophy, and they kind of do their little spinning deal in and around the outside. That's your Club World Cup fidget spinner. Instead of doing it in the middle and going like this, it's of the individual rings of the Club World Cup trophy, and you sit there and you pick a ring and you do whatever, you hit all three, and then they go in different directions, things like that. That is your Club World Cup fidget spinner. Thank you, FIFA. We've just solved another problem for you for your tchotchkes at the FIFA store. Doesn't have to be an actual fidget spinner. It can be a spinner of the Club World Cup trophy that you get your own key and you can unlock at any time. David's like, I really don't care about their disappointment for not letting the win on the field get them in. With the cash involved, they have a chance to manipulate group play results to double enrich themselves. Not that team's fault, but their joint ownership issue is the group ownership issues to deal with. Lesson learned, read the rule book. Read the rule book. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, just read the rule book, man. It's like, it's like you want to win, and you want to try and sit there and, I guess, sit there and flip one to the other. I'm just saying. I'm thinking, maybe you want all of your teams to win, and so by the time you want your teams to win, that's what you're thinking about. Maddie Cruz getting ready for practice this morning with Atlanta United. So are you at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground?
I, in fact, am. I'm at the spot right now, and I'm just chilling and hanging out. I'm going to start getting here early so that way I can hop on a little bit. Not on Thursdays, though. That might be a little bit jam packed. So maybe we'll hold off on that one. But I am going to.
Okay. What are you anticipating at practice today, young lady, as Atlanta United's getting ready to take on FC Dallas?
Oh, I mean, it's a full session today, so we'll get to watch everything, which will be very nice. So we'll get to see kind of, I guess, early on what everyone's thinking, especially with how you're going to be set up. But I know we're chatting with Stian Gregerson and Matt Edwards today. That is who we're slated to be talking to in media today. So yeah, it'll be a long session just to kind of, get things rolling and, figure out some pieces. But yeah, it'll be fun. It's supposed to be nice weather too, which I'm kind of excited about. So
yes, Matt Edwards, the Swiss Army knife at the back line for Atlanta United, who I think he has now officially played 3 of the 4 positions at the back at any given moment so far this season.
Yeah, you know what? And like that's someone you need though, especially with the homegrowns as well. Like it shows he's versatile. He can play wherever, and that's very valuable, especially with everything because, you can have him on the bench. He can come in for anybody in any given moment. That's huge.
Dominic Chong-Kui, I want to discuss DCQ a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know that we have had the chance with his time with the Twos in the academy to see him continue to grow and evolve. And Ronnie Dyla, because of just a concern on Pedro Amador, no update on that yet. But by the way, sir, you get tapped on the shoulder. It's like you're starting today, and it's like, oh crap, I'm starting today. And you don't have time to think about it. And if you're DCQ and he goes out there and puts out 57 minutes in front of 42,000.
Yeah, I mean, it shows the level that Dominic is at, to be able to step out there and really honestly seem unfazed. I really thought that he had a great game. Obviously everyone's going to talk about that one miscue there for that one goal. But again, like it's a mistake. And that's something Ronnie has talked about since the very beginning of his tenure here is, he doesn't want players to be afraid to make mistakes. He doesn't want them to be afraid of those consequences. And I mean, Dominic is a player where we've seen him with the Twos. He's really shined and we've seen him make those mistakes. We've seen him bounce right back. He's not a player that's going to kind of bring it down a little bit. And it's a good learning experience for him. It's one of those moments where you get real in-game experience. And other than that, like I thought he had a great game for him coming in immediately, making an impact, being solid. I thought he played really well. And, Ronnie Dyla talked about him as well in his post-game press conference. He chatted with the media as well afterwards. And, he gave a lot of credit to the coaching staff. I asked about Steve and how he helped. And, it's great. Unfortunately for Steve, he didn't have him on Sunday. I think he was a little upset about that one, but you know what? It happens.
So, all right, since you have transitioned to the Twos, let's talk about the Twos. Rodrigo Neri up for goal of the week. Atlanta United 2 coming down. They were down once 1-0. They came back to tie it on a goal by Neri. Down 2-1, come back to tie it on a goal by Neri. Lose eventually in PKs. Walk away with a point at home against Chattanooga FC. Messi and friends 2 coming to town this Sunday night at the Fraction. What are some of your thoughts where the Twos are concerned after the tight one with Chattanooga FC?
It's one that's so strange because obviously like it was a very back and forth game, but it's something we've talked about with the first team as well. And it's, capitalizing on those chances in the first half. You look at the stats of the first half and Chattanooga, I think, had a little bit more shots, but I think Atlanta had a lot more of the clear cut shots. And I thought that they were dominating the game, not in the sense of shots or possession or anything. I thought they actually looked the better team in the first half, but you got to make those chances count. Second half comes around, it's a little bit of a mistake in the back line, and Chattanooga's able to bounce it, able to get 1-0. But then the Twos are able to bounce back again, get an equalizer. Obviously, Steve even mentioned, it's kind of a weird situation with the counterattack, not leaving someone back there to defend that, and that gives up another goal, and that's something obviously to work on. But you then came back to tie it up again. I mean, craziest goal I think I've seen in a hot minute too from Rodrigo Neri. The delivery, I gotta talk about the sequence because I watched it again last night and I was like, oh my god. First of all, brilliant ball from Javi. Brilliant. He picked out Cayman Togashi as he's making the run in, and then Cayman just so intelligent, knows that Neri's right there. Neri's calling for it. He heads it down and Neri off the knee and then just whips it. Like, that is incredible. And it's brilliant. It shows the fight in the team to be able to come back and get an equalizer like that and to get a result. And then obviously you go to penalties, and like it's with MLS Next Pro, if you tie, you go to penalties to get the extra point. I mean, they did the same thing up against Orlando, and it's maybe cleaning up some of those penalty taking skills and what you do. But I mean, for me, I think penalties are all just a mind game. Like, I feel like it really is, just like you got to stay in the game and get focused. And a lot of that can, be swayed, especially I believe the Chattanooga goalkeeper was doing a little bit of extracurriculars there, doing some taunting, which.
Well, and here's the other thing involving Jakupovic. I think that where
goalkeeping throughout that game, by the way, he had an outstanding game.
And I think with Jakupovic, he was trying to make sure that the ball was on the spot, it's like, well, is it on the spot or is it not on the spot? I don't, it's got to be marked where it's supposed to be. And he was trying to get into the heads of the Atlanta United 2 younger players any way possible. Make sure that they're make sure the run up is right. Make sure the ball's at the right place. Are you and talking to the players themselves? I think Jakubovic had a bit of a clinic when it came to trying to get into opposing players' heads in a PK situation.
Yeah, totally with that. I think that's exactly what it was, and it happens. You have some days where you take good penalties, you have some days where you don't. And Jakubovic, I think, had an outstanding game from the saves that he had. So when we went into the penalty shootout, already I was like, ooh, and especially pairing it with Josh Cohen as well, who we know is very, very good in penalty taking situations as well, as we've seen him with the twos, with Open Cup, with everything else. I think it was going to be an interesting one. I thought it would have gone either way, but again, Chattanooga was able to come out on top, and you know what? Hey, they'll need that victory, especially heading into their, which that's gonna be a fun one. That's for sure.
Yes, and the wording has already come out and has been very consistent on the Chattanooga FC side of things, where they are not playing a team from Chattanooga, they are playing a team from Eastridge. And apparently, there are 6,000 tickets have apparently already been sold for this matchup at Fort Finley tomorrow, and it will be intriguing to say the very least when it comes to FC and Red Wolves going at it in Open Cup. Tormenta's playing tonight in Open Cup. They've got 4OSC, the UPSL side out of Dallas, and Core is playing tonight. They've got Charlotte Independence. We'll go over the juice boxes and all of those in just a little bit. FC Dallas, you got to turn the page if you are Atlanta United, where it was 4-3 craziness, and you got to see each of the DPs contribute in one way or another, but you got to turn the page because perpetual pain in the Lucho Acosta is coming to town for FC Dallas.
Yeah, it's you were able to come out and give a solid performance. You had a weird first half, didn't, I think, play your best, and then you come out in the second half and you're able to bounce back after a 3-1 deficit, like, already. And again, I think it shows the same thing that I've said about the twos. It shows the fight and the character of this side, and it's something that Ronnie Dyla really emphasized. And it shows that the fight is there with this team, and that is so important to have. I think going throughout the rest of the season, that was my biggest takeaway from it, was the fact that you were able to battle to try and find something, and you were able to find the victory. You were able to get all 3 points. You weren't even just able to get the tie. You were able to get the full 3 points, and that's huge. And all of that stuff. You gotta take the positives from this game, and you gotta turn it around to FC Dallas, because it's an interesting one with FC Dallas too, because like they've kind of been like kind of teetering on like pretty good, maybe not so good. I honestly thought we would have seen a little bit more of Lucho Acosta. I feel like we haven't seen a lot of him, and and it's interesting too. You played this team in preseason as well. We'll see how put together they are and everything else like that. But yeah, it looks so everyone else is walking up for training right now. So I think this might be my time to leave you, unfortunately.
All right. So Maddie Cruz is going to training. She's going to go, and she's going to get a whole bunch of intel and get training ground dispatches and all that kind of stuff. So she's going to go get smart and have the rest of us get smart with her. So Maddie Cruz is at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground, getting ready for Atlanta United as they prep for FC Dallas, trying to put NYCFC in the rearview mirror from a results standpoint, but not from a lessons standpoint. So we'll see what the track is this week with Atlanta United as they get ready for the second match in a 3-game homestand. It is NYC, it is FC Dallas, and next weekend, and it's a 2:40 start. Remember, 2:40 next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next. 2:40 start with the Revs coming to town as they are chasing after points and getting those first points of the season, going up against the team here in Atlanta. 2:40 on next Saturday after getting the points against Red Bulls that they did on this past weekend. Okay. Tom was discussing honor, and he wants do the honorable thing and bow out. Tom, when there's money involved, I don't know how many folks are bowing out. Really don't know how many folks are bowing out, especially when you walk in the door. Your walking in the door money is $9.5 million. I mean, legit. You walk in the door, and you get $9.5 million. Bouncers there at the door. Looks a lot like Gianni Infantino. He's got a clipboard. Ala Walenze comes walking up. Yes, Ala Walenze, Your name is not on this list. So you stay outside. You stay outside the velvet ropes. Then the two Grupo Pachuca teams, they come wandering in. Pachuca. Ah, yes, Mr. Pachuca. Yes, you're allowed. Comes through the velvet rope, goes into the party. Leon. Okay. Yes, your name is on here. So then Leon goes in. So it is right now. Alawalense's outside the velvet rope, and it appears that Leon is outside the velvet rope at the moment. But they're trying to find a way. They're trying to find a way to go in through the kitchen. And maybe they'll find there's a delivery truck. That's the words I'm looking for. Delivery truck out back that's bringing in the day's produce and everything, or the liquor. And so Leon would be the one who sits there. They go to the dock. They put the big cardboard box with one of the particular liquor shipments. They put it on their shoulder. They go walking by. It's like they kind of look like the folks that are bringing things in from the delivery truck. And then they put the cardboard box down with all the other alcohol. Then they kind of slip in. They got a change of clothes with them. They'll sit there and they'll put a change of clothes in, and they'll sit there. They'll be the one, like night at the Asbury. They'll be bouncing around at the bar. And so LAFC and Club America are kind of sitting there going, yeah, we'll be with you in a second. But yeah, to me, Leon looks like the ones that they were trying to figure out a way to come in through the kitchen. Yeah, exactly. LAFC and Club America. Well, actually, the winner of that one, yes, LAFC and Club America. The winner of that one comes up in their flashy limo. Yeah, it's like, and then folks step out. Carlos Vela. If it's LAFC, Carlos Vela steps out, and he's just he's all style and everything. He's got the sunglasses. Was that Carlos Vela? It's something like that. And then Mati Bogish with Cruz Azul, he's kind of looking out. He's kind of looking out from the front door around the big guard. And he's like, yeah, man, you guys look familiar. But, yeah, the winner of LAFC and Club America comes in with their flashy limo, the one that's got like the swimming pool in the back, or maybe the aquarium. And they got folks hanging out the sunroof, and it's like three cars long. So it fits the whole 18. But, yeah, so it's got the aquarium and the sunroof and the pool and everything. Yeah, the winner of LAFC and Club America comes up, and that's the limo that they're coming in. Like I said, you walk in, you talk to the dude at the velvet rope, and you're allowed into the party. He hands you an envelope. You don't hand him an invitation. He's got your name on a list. And he's like, yes, of course. Yeah, Mr. Saunders, yes, of course. And so, Brian Schmetzer goes walking in. He's got Stephen Fry. Yeah, yes, Mr. Schmetzer. Yes, you and Mr. Fry. Yes, you can come in. And then they unhook the velvet rope. And then there's a dude that's got like a box. And it's like one that says Seattle. And so the Seattle envelope goes to Schmetzer and Stephen Fry. And before they walk into the party, they open it up and they see that there's a check for $9.55 million. Yep, we're in the right place. And then one to the other's like, here, let me hang on to that. No, I'm hanging on to it. Schmetzer kind of puts it in his jacket pocket. So that's what you're staring at with that. Yeah, you walk in the door. It doesn't matter what your rental cost was for that limo. Doesn't matter what that limo looks like. You walk in the door. Dude with a plastic bin with individual envelopes hands you your envelope that's got your name on it. You open the envelope, check for $9.55 million for walking in the door. And then that same dude is going to be at each and every venue after each and every day to hand you another check if you draw or if you win. He's got like two separate checks. He just fills in the amount. He's got a check that he sits there, and it's like for whatever team. If it's a draw, he fills out two checks for like $1 million each. Representatives come at the end of the match. He's like the ATM. He hands out $1 million check here, $1 million check to both sides. Somebody wins. One person walks over to the pay window. Yes. There's your $2 million check. Because remember, you do get money, but not as much if you win, if you draw. None if you lose in group play. But you draw, you get a check. You win, you get a bigger check. Check. Pay that man his money. Exactly. Four Card's wondering if they've got $1 billion to hand out. Why am I volunteering to work the games? So you don't have to pay $240 to go in and watch? All right, now that Four Card's opened that door. Morning, Four Card. Now that Four Card has opened that door, okay, so let's take a peek. Let's take a peek at the prices, shall we? Let's go to our friendly neighborhood venue in the secondary market and find out just off the top of our heads what you would be spending if you wanted to go and see the Club World Cup matches. And we'll just take the one venue. We'll just take the one venue for Atlanta. So let's go ahead. We'll go soccer. No, not near Hollywood, United States. I guess because of the last time that I was doing something that way, it decided it was going to do it. All right. So okay. All right. So now for the venue that is local here in the this particular section of the southeastern United States, we'll just do the local ones. I know we could go to like Geodis and look at that, and we could sit there and look at the price tags. We might do that as we get closer. So Chelsea and Club Leon, Monday, June 16th, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Once again, get-in price. This is what we're going to talk about here. The get-in price right now for the Club World Cup. Get-in price, upper tank, Mercedes-Benz, $84. And that is processing fee, $4 a ticket, all that stuff. So 84. Yeah, so it's looking like $84 in the upper tank. And if you want to get into the lower bowl in the 45-degree angles, it's also $84. Oh, no, that's section 3. That is not what we're looking at here. So why are you not giving that to me? Anyway, but all right. So upper tank to get in, $84 for Chelsea and Club Leon. Now, Messi and Friends and FC Porto, Thursday, June 19th at 3 o'clock. Once again, upper tank, get-in price, $90, $89.20 is what you're looking at for Messi and Friends and FC Porto. Manchester City and Al Ain. They're the late game on January 22nd. Once again, get-in price, $67 to get in, because once again, late night, the 22nd, you're the last match of the day. So get-in price for Manchester City and Al Ain, $67. Then round of 16 ticket, June 29th at noon at Mercedes-Benz. Get-in price, $95. Round of 16 Tuesday night at 9, July 1st. Get-in price, $78.25. And it's all in the 300 levels, anywhere from $78.25 to $85, $86, $90, and so on. So the round of 16, the second round of 16 match, that one is going to be intriguing. Quarterfinal matchup, Saturday, July 5th at noon. Get-in price, $222.50. So the quarterfinal matchup is the one that really blows the curve on the get-in price. So that is what you're staring at right now for price tags and things like that to go in. So if you wanted to go, if you wanted to go in And if you wanted to watch all of those clubs and all of those matches, then you're probably saving 300. You're probably saving close to $650 a ticket if you want to go see all six, just to get in the building. That's not to be in the corners, on the lower level, in the 100s. That's just to get in and hang out on the 300 level. So get in price upper bowl. Aren't a whole lot of tickets. The tickets themselves, lower bowl and the mezz, those seem to be moving. End zone corners, not so much. Upper tank, not moving, or at least available for resale more than the average bear. But you're looking at, for those six events, you're looking at like $650 to go in to be a part of all of those events that you're saving by volunteering to go. I don't know what they would have you do when it comes to volunteering. I'd be like, okay, are you the guy? Are you the guy with the clipboard and the velvet rope? Four card, this might be what you're doing. You might be the dude with the clipboard and the velvet rope. You might be the guy that's security for the guy with the envelopes that he gets to hand out after the matches are over. That's what you might be that person. But yeah, as we get closer, we'll continue to monitor prices and such, and we'll sit there and we'll look at them and go, okay. Where are things moving? Where is it going? What's it not doing? What's it doing? Those kinds of things. So that we'll keep an eye on. But yeah, it looks like at least right now with the get-in, as you're volunteering, you're saving yourself about $650 a ticket for all six. So 90 times 5, 450, and then 220, 670, 675. Yes. Training session this Saturday for volunteers, or it's an orientation thing at GSU before the Atlanta United match. Okay. We need intel and we need updates. We need to find out what they're telling you. You can't say anything bad. You can't wear this. You can't wear this. We'll give you a ceremonial key for the Club World Cup trophy. But that's what you're getting. That's what you're getting into. You're saving yourself an ish load of money. Okay, so since we mentioned Open Cup, so Open Cup is today. Unfortunately, our friends from Carolina Core are stuck in meetings, and so we can't quite catch up with them. We also have a note out to Foro to see if we can catch up with them as they get ready for Tormenta. Here's your juice boxes for this go-round. Crew 2 hosting Lexington. This one, I think, is at the Death Star. Right now, Lexington is a minus 161 on the road, taking on Crew 2 at a plus 319, 90-minute draws a plus 307. 7 o'clock, Tormenta and Foro out of the UPSL. Tormenta is a minus 556. 90-minute draw for Foro, and Tormenta is a plus 495. Your Foro to win outright is a plus 1173. And remember that Foro were the ones that knocked off Texoma at Sherman Bearcat Stadium in the last round. So Foro, as a UPSL side, it knocked off a USL League One side. And you have them now traveling to Statesboro, Georgia, to take on Tormenta, 7 o'clock. 7:30, Charlotte Independence, Carolina Core. Core on the road at plus 362. Independence a minus 175, draws a plus 307. Messi and Friends 2 against the Miami FC. This might be your line mistake of the day. The Miami FC is a plus 102. Draws a plus 268. Messi and Friends 2 are a plus 199, basically a plus 200, and it's wobbling right now. For those that may not know, the Miami FC, and when we have Kaylor Hodges on to discuss these kinds of things, the Miami FC is not a very good team. They are not a very good team. They're really not. To give you an idea, in the power rankings, they are 22nd out of 24th right now. 0-4 out of the blocks this season in USL Championship. Power rankings have the Roots at 0-3-1 and Hartford Athletic at 0-3, below the Miami FC in the rankings after the first 4 match weeks. Last season, you'll remember that the Miami FC was just GAWD awful. 4 matches this season, lost them all. Lost to New Mexico 1-0, lost to the Rowdies 2-1, lost to Indy 11 3-1, lost to Detroit City 2-0. So that's what has happened so far in the first 4 matches. 8 goals allowed, 2 scored. 12th in the Eastern Conference, below Hartford Athletic. They're the only other team in the East that has not scored a point this year in the standings. Roots actually do have a draw. But then last year, when they spent an ish ton of money on folks in the Eastern Conference, they were dead blank and last. 329-2 with a goal difference of -63. That's what the Miami FC was last year. 329-2 with a goal difference of -63 in a 34-game schedule. So today you're favored. You travel all the way up to the Erector set from Florida International. You go from Boca to Fort Lauderdale. This is a real challenging road trip. Where Messi and Friends 2 are a +199, your draw is a +268. That might be, to me, the line mistake of the day. If you're looking for a cup set, that would be the one for me. Late night, 10 o'clock, Monterey Bay and El Farolito. Do not mess with the champs out of the NPSL. Monterey Bay is a -526. Your 90-minute draws a +482. El Farolito at +1178. I like the draw in that one. AV Alta hosting LAFC 2. AV Alta is favored. LAFC 2 is a +286, and your draw is a +262. So those are your 6 matchups in Open Cup tonight. Lexington SC favored at Crew 2. Tormenta big favorite at home against Foro SC, the UPSL side out of Dallas. Charlotte Independence big favorite against Core. Messi and Friends 2, a big underdog at home to the Miami FC. Monterey Bay big favorite at home against El Farolito. AV Alta a favorite at a -128 against LAFC 2. And thank you, 4Card, for doing the work of the insider and letting us know what's going to find out. Today at 3, Al Hilal Al Ahly, quarterfinal leg 1 of the CAF Champions League. And so we'll see what happens there. We will go through gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Then Tom thinks that the Miami FC turns into a USL League One club. Oh, do I think that they're turning it into a D1 USL club, just waiting it out until then? I think, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to get more ownership backing and tried to go into that first division group. Because, and so, Tom, when Kaler comes in next time at the end of the month, last Tuesday of the month, remind us to talk about the Miami FC and what he foresees as their future. Frankly, for me, they spent an ish ton of money, got no results, were awful. They lost 29-34 and were the laughingstock of USL Championship. I think that's safe to say. So then they decided to just let everybody go, build with young talent, build with cheap talent, and figure it out from there. And, they're scoring goals. They're just not winning any matches. So they have now gone to the flip side of the equation, and they are trying to sit there and go, okay, how do we build now? And then they try and build in a different way. And so if this younger build works over time, which you have to have patience for, is this what they do going forward? And I think that because of it being Miami, I think they try and elevate to that first division status line, so that way they have a top 10 television market as a part of the group in that first ever first division league from USL. I have no basis in fact for what I think, but trying to think of things in the most base economic way possible. Give you an example. When we do the college basketball and football podcasts over on the OSG sports side of things, because of my background in television, I'm always looking at a tournament as a television program. So think of this new USL product as a television program. What do you need for this television program to succeed? You need eyeballs in whatever way possible. Over-the-air product, streaming, what have you, butts and seats. So where right now, if you were USL Championship, say, who do you want to be a part of that first division, that new first division league when it starts? You want your established winning programs. So that means Lou City. Detroit City is a top 15 market. Tampa's a top 15 market. Miami's a top 15 market. But like I said, off the top of my head, I have no bearing and no thought as to who would be moving up to that first division. But thinking at it in its most base terms, trying to get as many butts in seats as possible, have larger stadia, and try to have folks watching it however they would consume it. If you look at it from winning programs in top 10 markets in the East, Lou City, Detroit City, Tampa Bay, Miami, if they wanted to move up. Harry probably could give you an idea as to San Antonio and their desires. Do they want to stay in USL Championship or do they want to move up? Monterey Bay, do they have the financials or do they stay as Monterey Bay and not try to market themselves into Oakland, San Francisco, that kind of a thing, as a no-cal franchise? Sacramento is one of your big guns in the league. Sacramento now, obviously, the temporary home of the A's baseball team until they figure out if they're going to be able to build that building in Vegas or not. Speaking of Vegas, they might be one that would go up. Oakland, perhaps. So there may be 5 or 6 teams right now currently in USL Championship that I could envision going up into this new first division element on market size alone and viewership and market share and ownership of the market share. Because if you include a San Antonio when they do well, if you include a Sacramento at Heart Health Park, when they're winning, you can't get a ticket. You cannot get a ticket. That's the kind of eyeballs that I think you're looking for with this first division thing with USL. I think you're looking to put butts in seats, and I think that you are looking to figure out what can we do to make this look big, feel big, and present itself as being big in larger television markets to get the exposure, to get folks out, to get more exposure and get more folks out, to continue to win, to get more folks in the building, to turn it into a supply and demand issue when it comes to your ticket. So then you end up trying to have folks watch and consume however they can since they can't get there in person. Creating artificial demand through winning. So that would be what that's what I'm looking at, basically. Tom is also waiting for the USL League One club to get a qualifying investor for them to work in New Hampshire. And by the way, keep an eye out for New Orleans in USL League One, or New Orleans, for those of us south of the Mason-Dixon line. It looks like New Orleans is going into League Two with the overall goal of going into League One. So keep an eye on New Orleans as a market for USL going for a future. 4-card, if there's a requirement for market size, how can they pro-rel since they can't control market size expand into MLS cities? Maybe. But I'm looking at it this way. I'm not saying it's a requirement for market size. It's more of a desire for market size. Let me phrase it that way. You want to be in markets that matter for your product. And so there's two ways to go about this. You can go about this by looking at it, trying to find large markets for your consumption and large markets for your fans. Oh, you thought it is a U.S. soccer requirement for USD1. So let's take a peek at this real quick. Let's workshop this. D1 requirements. All right, so U.S. soccer D1 requirements. We're using the Google machine here and seeing if we can come up. Okay, so Pro League standards. Yes, and waivers are a thing. Okay. VIP jackets are dropping soon for USA Soccer. Those are pretty sweet. Pro League standards. I don't want it downloaded. I just want to see. Okay. 75% of the league's teams must be based in the U.S. League stadium must meet the following parameters: controllable ingress, egress, and 110/70. Financial viability, adequate performance bond, meet with federation staff, violation of the standards, annual media guide, disseminating weekly stat reports. League or teams must produce a lineup card or similar guide for each individual match. League office, team organization, transparency, accountability. Where's my table of contents here? General requirements. Like I said, and I apologize because I'm clicking through the D1 document as we go. Player safety training and respect, player feedback, waiver procedures. Okay, here we go. Division 1 Men's Outdoor League. Section 2. Minimum of 12 teams to apply. By year 3, the league must have a minimum of 14. Markets, stadia, and fields. U.S.-based teams must be located in at least the Eastern, Central, and Pacific time zones in the continental United States. These 3 time zones are required because the majority of the population centers are located in these time zones. At least 75% of the league's teams must play in metropolitan markets of at least 1 million persons. League stadium must meet the following parameters: enclosed, minimum seating capacity of 15,000, not later than 180 days prior to the start of each season. Each team shall have a lease for at least 1 full season with its home stadium. Financial viability. League must demonstrate adequate financial viability to ensure continued operation on a season-by-season basis, either in the form of a performance bond or similar instrument for each team in the amount of $1 million, or readily available league funds representing such amount. The maximum of such funds for any league shall be $20 million, used to cover the cost of the team's operation, including without limitation player and staff salary and wages, stadium lease commitments, and third-party vendor obligations, in addition to commitments by each team to the league. Each ownership group must demonstrate financial capacity to operate the team for 5 years. Team organization. League must have broadcast and cable. Clarity, high-quality internet streaming of regular season games satisfies this requirement. So here is the link to what I was just reading. There. So that's what I was reading. So now you've got that and set it into motion. So bookmark, click on that. That's your guidelines. That's the Pro League rules according to U.S. Soccer. So if you were looking at Nielsen household numbers, so let's go ahead and go into the Nielsen ratings. Nielsen Media Research, expanding out-of-home panels. I don't want insights. I want the markets. New upfronts and guides. I don't care. So legitimately, all right. So let's see. TV ADI household numbers. I'm trying to find out. All right. So the ADIs. Okay. Statista. Number of TV households in 23 and 24. Accept all, whatever. I don't care. Statista wants you to pay $200. CTV enabled for television insights. Smart TVs in 79% of homes. All right. So I need my television market designations. All right. So here we go. List of TV stations in North America by market. Okay. Now, all right. So the 210 DMAs listed by the 24-25 Nielsen ratings. So if we go, let's blow through the top 30 here real quick. New York, LA, Chicago, Dallas, Philly, Houston, Atlanta, Washington, Boston, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose is number 10. So Oakland. So all right. So let's take it with what we're looking at. LA, Orange County probably would qualify if they wanted to make that jump. Chicago, USL's been talked about there for years. Dallas, we know about USL Dallas. They're coming online. Don't be surprised if they eventually work their way north. Houston, we have other cities in Texas to look at. Atlanta, DC, Boston, Oakland would satisfy market number 10. Rowdies would satisfy market number 11. Phoenix satisfies number 12. Detroit, number 14. Let's see. Miami gives you 18. Sacramento gives you number 20. I should have been counting off here. So, and I'm going technically by what we see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 markets in the top 20. Then you would have 8 in the top 25 with Indianapolis. 9 in the top 27 with Pittsburgh. San Antonio gives you 10 by market 31. Hartford in market 32. USL Milwaukee technically would give you 12 by market 38. Yeah, four-card Tampa is Tampa St. Pete. That's market number 11. So to get to with your current markets in the USL, you would have to go to get to number 12. It would be Milwaukee's anticipated franchise. And if it's not there, then you could get to 14 if Vegas was in line at 40 and Jacksonville comes online at 41. So with current USL clubs, not looking at expansion, not looking at anything else, to satisfy the League One model, if you just took the clubs they had on hand, it would take you to market 41 with Jacksonville coming online as that 14th team. 12 would get you to market 38 with the USL Milwaukee project. Then Vegas and Jacksonville would get you to Club 13, Club 14. And that legitimately is if all of them were even interested in drifting up to this new Division I program that USL has in mind. So you would be saturated to market 41 with 14 teams in Division I. Jacksonville's building their own. I think Cashman, let me see here. USL Stadium capacities. Let's see if the Google machine can help us out here. Okay, so Stadium's USL Championship. Okay. So, no, I want the capacities. I don't want the news on them. Okay, so stadium overviews. Okay, so here we go. Our friends at Transfermarkt are going to help us out. No, I don't want no. All right, so Protectives at 47-1. FIU, if they play at the football stadium, South Dade Kia Stadium, would give you 20. Lynn Family at 15-3. Oakland, we know that Oakland can seat 26, 27, but 15,000 capacity. Isotopes at 13.5, Cashman at 12.5. The Mike is 12.111. Hard Health 11.569. Wake Med would give you 10. Phoenix Rising, which is a temporary facility, could give you 10. I think it's modular, so you could expand it. El Paso is a baseball stadium. My guess is they would not go to the new Division I. Toyota's at 82.96. Harry, I would need your advice when it comes to expansion, perhaps. 75%, they need 11 teams in million-plus markets. Yes, 4-card. Yes, that is correct. So the television markets, let's see. So Jacksonville, just to get the TV numbers, initial visibility, no. So those are your DMAs, and I need the numbers. But if you go 11 of the 14 would need to be north of 1 million. So full power, low power, outlying. How many? See, this is the problem, is I need the actual household numbers here. And you would think that folks would give this to you. So DMAs, must carries, DTV coverage maps by location. I need the TV markets, TV stations, FCC, federal regulations. And I know that this is incredible radio for those of you who are listening on radio. On audio. And by the way, once again, thanks to our friends at the Fired Up Network in Canada, for those that you watch there, and also on 12 Ounce Sports, who are now adding the programming here with SDH. So, all right. So my homework is to come up with the ADI numbers by media market and find out who is north of 1 million. For 11 of the 14, yeah, and 4-card, I think that's the rub unless you get a waiver. 4-card makes a good point. So you would need in this Division I element 11 of the 14 teams in a perfect world, or 75% of 12. So 9 of 12 or 11 of 14 need to be in households that have 1 million or more. But one or more of the high market teams getting relegated, then you need more teams to keep the 11 in the D1 level. So that's the rub in all of this. That is something that we need to check on waivers. And we need to check on all of the other attachments that go with this, because to your point, 4-card, to your point, to stay D1, if you had one of your big guns that was relegated, you would need to, I would think, have at least a big gun or more big guns on file, or have one of your big guns be promoted from the USL Championship to USL Division I. Not League One, but Division I. So it's either 9 of 12 or 11 of 14, and you've got to have, unless there's a waiver in there somewhere from U.S. Soccer. Excellent point. Hang on to that. Hang on to that info. So my homework is to figure out which households have more than 1 million viewers for this league going forward. So that's my homework. Where's my pen? All right, so hang on. U.S. households 1 million plus. Okay, so that's my homework today. That I've got to figure that out. Yeah, big guns would have to be poorly run, highly unlikely, with a wink. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How'd you do? How'd you do? Okay, so stadium capacities after the first 5 or 6 currently in USL Championship, that kind of gets a little eyebrow raisy. Okay, before we go, just to keep an eye on things. Sheffield Wednesday, I don't know if you heard about this. And like I said, this is just stuff to kind of, keep in your files. Like, oh, yeah, I heard about this. Sheffield Wednesday's players apparently were not paid on time. And so, not paid due to the Chansiri cash flow issues. Dafon Chansiri has been chairman at Sheffield Wednesday since 2015. Failed to pay their players' wages for March due to cash flow problems suffered by their owner. Club said it was a temporary issue due to debts owed to the Thai businessman, whose family-controlled Thai Union Group, the world's largest producer of canned tuna. Sheffield Wednesday, 12th in the championship, 5 points outside the playoff places, facing Hull City at home on Saturday. They claim it is because of significant money owed not because of problems of their own. PFA are aware of the Owls' issues, in touch with the players. 2019, when Sheffield Wednesday sold Hillsborough to Chancery for about 60 million pounds to ensure they didn't breach spending rules. 2023, Chancery asked fans to raise £2 million to help the club pay an outstanding debt to Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs to cover wages. Last November, they were placed under a registration embargo by the EFL of amounts owed to their version of the IRS. Stewardship of the club criticized by fans who protested, while his relationship with manager Danny Roll has become strained. Fans demanding answers. Second registration embargo in 12 months back in November. And so you have a manager like Danny Roll having to deal with Sheffield Wednesday ownership, and folks are not happy. Also on the board before we get out of here, a couple of other things. No, Tom, perfectly. Look. The thing about what we do on a daily basis is we are here to report, we are here to inform, we are here to entertain. And if we have instances where we do deep dives, that's why we have this space. So homework is part of the deal. Learning about things so we can all be, and myself included, so we can all be better informed and we can better understand what folks want to do. That's why we're here on a daily basis, to have fun, catch up with each other, news of the day, guests, entertain, do good journalism, and become smarter and more well-rounded. And God knows I need that. But to do homework so we can approach things right, and so we have all of our facts and evidence when we can talk about things, and we're not just kind of shooting off at the hip. I admit I shoot off at the hip, but it's done in jest a lot of the times. You guys know that the fun that I have and the fun that we all have here together. But to be well informed, we need to do these kinds of things, because if this is what's coming up to be a part of the landscape, it makes sense to be informed and find out, okay, can there be a waiver? Where are the households? Where does the 1 million marker, cut things off? Strictly in ADIs, if those 14 clubs were to go up to Division 1 in the USL, it would cut off at market 41. And that's if everyone was interested. And look, Forecard, to be perfectly honest, nothing wrong with rabbit holes. Absolutely nothing wrong with rabbit holes. We go down rabbit holes, we become more informed, we become educated as we go about the topics of the day, and that's what I like. And I like to be able to be in a place where we can inform, entertain, enlighten, and find out stuff we didn't know. Zero issue with it whatsoever. None. Okay, so looks like it might be that Erling Haaland might be out for 6 weeks. And he is asking his side to adapt. Erling Haaland, in the matchup against Bournemouth, stated that Haaland will be out for up to 7 weeks with his ankle injury as they try to qualify for Champions League and get the FA Cup. Forced off in the matchup against Bournemouth. Doctors told him 5 to 7 weeks back at the end of the season. For the Club World Cup, he will be ready. So keep an eye on Manchester City. Carlo Ancelotti is going to stand trial as he is accused of €1 million tax fraud, charged with not declaring earnings from image rights. Sam Jones at The Guardian says he's going to appear in court to stand trial on charges of defrauding Spain's tax office in undeclared image rights from 2014 and 2015. Prosecutors who are seeking a jail term of 4 years and 9 months allege that Ancelotti used shell companies outside Spain to create, quote, opacity vis-a-vis the Spanish treasury, concealing the real beneficiary of the income from the exploitation of his image rights. They claim, despite his status as a Spanish resident for tax purposes, the coach declared only his personal earnings from the club and omitted the income he received from the sale of his image rights. Prosecutors allege he failed to pay a total of just over €1 million in taxes on the sale of those rights, which amounted to $1.24 million in 2014, $2.96 the following year. trial, which is going to be held in Madrid, supposed to last a couple days. Don't anger the tax man. Also, the FA is lobbying the government to make tailgating a criminal offense. And what we call tailgating and what they call tailgating are two different things. The FA has stepped up its lobbying of the government to make forced entry into football stadia, tailgating, a criminal offense. Policing Minister Dame Diana Johnson was a guest of the FA. 68 of the 91 arrests were made for folks attempting to enter the ground without a ticket. Tailgating at turnstiles is not a criminal offense, according to The Guardian, but Metropolitan Police forced to make the 68 arrests on the ground of suspicion of fraud. No charges have been issued owing to very low conviction rates for tailgating, which has become a major issue for the FA and for some top-flight Premier League clubs. Tailgating. Their version of tailgating and our version of tailgating, different. Wrexham has a record revenue of £26.7 million after a boost out of the U.S. Chelsea is reporting a £128 million plus profit after selling the women's side to themselves. How you like that? So get this. I'm going to sell something to me, and I'm going to record a profit. So Chelsea, okay, now this is once again from Jacob Steinberg at The Guardian. Okay. Chelsea appear, and this is Steinberg's writing, Chelsea appear to have complied with the Premier League's PSR, profit and sustainability rules, through player sales by selling the women's team to the club's parent company. So, wait. And I guess because when you're dealing with the Premier League side, you try to sell a hotel to a subsidiary that is linked to yourself because it's straight up the Premier League. That's bad. But when you try and sell the women's team to yourself, that works from a business perspective. So Chelsea announced they had turned last year's pre-tax loss of £90.1 million into a pre-tax profit of $128.4 million for the financial year ending June 30 of 2024. Chelsea's revenue dipped to £468.5 million. Financial Picture, quote, benefited from increased profit on disposal of player registrations and repositioning of Chelsea Football Club Women Limited. Club added that profits on disposal of player registrations of $152.5 and a profit on disposal of subsidiaries of $198.7 million led to an overall net profit of $129.6 after tax. Predicted at the time of last year's takeover of the women's team by Chelsea's parent company, Blueco 22, that the deal would help Chelsea comply with PSR. The move has faced scrutiny from the Premier League in relation to rules around fair market value and associated party transactions. League passed Chelsea selling 2 hotels at Stamford Bridge to Blueco for $76.5 million last year. Once again, remember the hotels. League passed Chelsea selling 2 hotels at Stamford Bridge to Blueco 22 for $76.5 million. And apparently they rankle at the idea of the women's team being sold from Chelsea to a subsidiary to create profit. That's all you're doing is this. That's all you're doing. You're just sliding from side to side. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I have missed. I think we have CONCACAF tonight? I think we do. Really quickly, and then we'll get into what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. North and Central America. Okay, yeah. Triple C going on today and tomorrow. So it is Club America Cruz Azul. Club America is plus 108. 90-minute draws a plus 242. Cruz Azul is a plus 237. And at 11:15, LAG hosting Tigres. LAG is a dog at a plus 164. Tigres probably without Gignac and a couple of others because they just don't want them to travel is a plus 152, and your draws a plus 243. So basically, draw option from our friends at Odds Portal. They don't know. Tigres is a road favorite slightly. Club America is a home favorite by a lot. Tomorrow, it's Whitecaps, Pumas, LAFC, and Messi and friends. So that's the activity in CONCACAF. Today in the Prem, we had 3 matches. We have 3. 2 at 245. Arsenal minus 204 hosting Fulham at a plus 638. Wolves a plus 150 hosting West Ham at a plus 197. And at 3 o'clock, Forest favored against Manchester United at a plus 129. Manchester United's a plus 212. Bulk of the action is tomorrow. And then you have the one matchup to wrap things up on Thursday before those teams play again on Sunday. Gee, thanks. So, yes, the tailgating thing is different to us than it is in England. That's the word I'm looking for. Tailgating is different in England. Okay, so homework was performed. 55 metro areas over 1 million. Thank you, 4Card. That's what I was looking for. Metropolitan statistical area. All right, so metropolitan statistical area goes to, all right, so 41. Okay, so this is metropolitan statistical area. And so now that's the question. Does it go statistical area or does it go with DMA according to television? So Jacksonville would be at 38 instead of 41. They're 41 in television, but they're 38 in area. So then you have Providence, and I believe we heard Michael Parker say that Rhode Island would jump up to that Division I. So if we go below 41, Oklahoma City, the return of the energy, if that was to happen, it would be at 42. Louisville at 43. Memphis is a market you would need to get back into. Birmingham at 47. Hartford we already had on the list. And FC Tulsa. So, and if Union, I don't know if Union Omaha would jump, but you would have the possibility of another 4. So as many as 18 in the top 50 if they all wanted to go. So there's some wiggle room there that's attached. So 4Card, USL just needs to get the stadia above 15,000 for teams to get promoted to the D1. And right now that's going to be a problem considering that there's 6 of them right now that are 15,000 or more. So that's what you're staring at. Okay. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and then we'll get out of here, and then we'll get you ready for what's going on tomorrow. Once again, Tyler, Dylan, Moore in session at noon, and we're going to be at an event in Fayetteville at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon with U.S. Soccer as they continue to expand their thoughts and the game in Fayette County. Looking for Daniel Sperry from the Kansas City Star to join us on Thursday along with Nino and Nico. Thursday is the SDH 1 and 2 on the network. Dutchtown and Trinity Christian, Toombs County Hebron Christian, those will be on the network on Thursday. And then Friday, it's getting you ready for the weekend. And we do have a matchup squared away, and we're trying to get the just final on that matchup on Friday, but we know where we'd like to go. Okay. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Bournemouth want 45 million pounds for Milos Kerkesh amid interest from Liverpool. City are going to try and sign William Saliba, also a target for Real Madrid. AC Milan's Tiani Reinders, also a target for Manchester City, having made contact with the Serie A club. Cristiano Ronaldo, the idea, according to Tutto Sport, that he would join Inter Milan for the Club World Cup is not a serious one for that particular club. Arsenal considering Eintracht Frankfurt's Hugo Ekitike as an alternative to Alexander Isak. Chelsea not currently expecting to sign a new first-team keeper in the summer. Enzo Maresca is going to have Georgi Petrovic and Mike Penders, who are on loan with Strasbourg and joining from Genk to challenge from the spot. We mentioned Bukayo Saka, him hanging around for a while yesterday with Bart. Barcelona is saying that Pedri is not up for sale amid reports linking him to Manchester City, who believe that he would be the replacement for Kevin De Bruyne. And Fabio Paratici is set to become AC Milan sporting director when his ban from football activities in his homeland ends. Now, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. All of the U.S. Open games are on the U.S. Soccer YouTube channel. So you can watch that and have multiple devices going on at one time. It all starts at 6 o'clock. BN's got your Copa Libertadores, 6, 8:30, and 10. Carabobo, Estudiantes Fortaleza, Racing Club, Barcelona, and Independiente del Valle. FS2 has the French Cup, Dunkirk, and PSG at 3 o'clock. CONCACAF Champions Hemispheric Extravaganzas on FS2, 9:15 and 11:15. USA, Wolves and West Ham at 2:45. Bien en Español, simulcasting Libertadores. Copa del Rey, Real Madrid, Real Sociedad at 3:30. Fox Deportes, simulcasting French Cup. TUDN is also airing CONCACAF. Universo is airing Wolves and West Ham. ESPN Plus has the Eredivisie at 2. German Cup, Bielefeld and Bayer Leverkusen at 2:30. Copa del Rey, Real Madrid, Real Sociedad at 3:30. Saudi King Cup at 2 o'clock. Al Ittihad and Al Shabab on Fox Soccer Plus. NBCSports.com, simulcasting Wolves and West Ham. Paramount Plus, Coppa Italia, Empoli, Bologna. Peacock has your other 2 matches in the Premier League. VeEX has your CONCACAF matches. YouTube has the 6 matches in U.S. soccer for the Open Cup. Fox Soccer Plus, U17 qualifiers. Canada, Nicaragua at 5. Puerto Rico, Panama at 8. The U.S. yesterday beat Trinidad and Tobago 3-0. They had in the U17 qualifiers 44 shots on goal. 23 of them in the first half. They didn't score. Ashlyn Anderson, Michaela Johnson, Chloe Sadler all scoring in the final 27. World Cup being expanded to 24 and an annual event in Morocco. 3 group winners and the best second-place team qualifying for the finals, which takes place from October to November 17th through the 8th. And this is going on currently in Cuba, and USA wins at 3-0. Tierna Davidson has been sidelined with a knee injury, and we'll keep an eye on her replacement. I believe it was named, if I'm not mistaken. Tierna Davidson, Giselle Thompson replaces her on the roster for the USWNT for the friendlies against Brazil 2 times in a 4-day period. So that's your stuff. That's all that's going on. We went long. Rabbit holes will do that. That's perfectly fine. Once again, tomorrow we'll go back over things. We'll discuss stuff and get you ready in the midweek for everything going on. So for everybody here at SDH, glad that Maddie could drop by on her way into practice this morning. Back at it again in a little less than 22, and we'll get you ready for everything going on in the midweek. For everybody here, to all of you there, thanks as always for dropping by, and we'll discuss everything that rabbit holes will give us, because we all need to be better informed on a daily basis. So for everybody here, see you in a little less than 22. Mucha plati, all play it safe. And since it's the end of the show, that means I get to do this. See you tomorrow.